I welcome you to the brief but significant handing over of vehicles to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. At this time, I would like to call on Mr. Wayne Shalry, Deputy Commissioner of Police, with some significant remarks for us in that regard. Mr. Shalry.
This handing over ceremony of an additional 2 vehicles to the Royal St. Lucia Police vehicle fleet is well received and greatly appreciated. It will strengthen the police force operational efficiency and tactical fluency, attributes necessary for the effective delivery of a results-driven policing service. I look forward to the expected improvements in the tactical performance of our operational teams. We can do more, we should do more. With the continued provisioning of the requisite law enforcement equipment and resources, we will do more to combat violent crime and lawlessness, thereby, and most importantly, engender, in collaboration with the citizenry, safe and secure communities throughout St. Lucia. I thank you.
I would like to call on Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, Honorable Minister for the Public Service, Home Affairs, Labor, and Gender Affairs, to address us.
This morning is a very serious moment for the government of St. Lucia and the police force. And as I speak, I want to express condolences to the families and grieving persons who have lost their loved ones through the act of violence in our country. At this point, we are going through a moment of change. And anytime we see change, we will get resistance to change. And therefore, one of the areas that this government is looking at is planting some very good seeds so that later on we will harvest some good fruits. And this is why today we are presenting 2 vehicles to the St. Lucia Police Force so that they will have the tools they need to carry out their work, to keep law and order in this country, and to ensure that all St. Lucians are safe. The government continues to invest in security for our people. This is a commitment by the government to keep our people safe, and this is exactly what we are doing. I'm hoping that the police will make maximum use of this tool, use it to the best of their abilities, and let us see how we can combat the scourge of crime, how we are going to encourage the citizens of St. Lucia to give the Royal St. Lucia Police Force all the support that they need so that we can remain safe in our country. With that seed, I am very convinced that in the next few months and in the next few years, we will see the benefit of this investment. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your words of optimism. I have just one question for our next speaker, which is, what are you doing here, sir? This is an exemplary show of leadership by the Prime Minister, who has traveled from Taipei, Taiwan, over the weekend, only to be here this morning to continue to show leadership and to stand at the helm of the country, despite most likely his own fatigue from traveling. Anyone who has undertaken this trip would understand that given the number of timelines, transfers, etc., that one has to go through, it is not easy at all to be here this morning. And thank you so much, Prime Minister. We do appreciate you for digging deep and giving St. Lucia all you have. I now call you to the podium to address this gathering.
First of all, let me join the minister in expressing my condolences to the families of those who lost their lives over the last couple of days and over the last couple of months, and to tell them that it's never good to lose a life, regardless of whatever that life was about. So we express our deepest condolences to their families. Let us not fool ourselves and play or pretend that what's happening here today, what's happening in the country is good. It's not good. It has never been good, and we cannot say it is good. But let's not bury our heads in the sand and pretend that it never happened before. It has happened before, and when it happened before, it was not good, and it still isn't good now. Any murder is too much. Any murder should not happen. And any murder is cause for concern, and cause for alarm, and cause to ring the alarm bells of something must be done. But let us not use this opportunity for political opportunists to pretend that this government has done nothing about crime, that this government is showing no leadership as far as crime is concerned, or this government has a lackluster attitude just to benefit political aims and political motives. No member in my cabinet has ever said that he'll commit crime on his own. Each cabinet member is fully behind the police, fully behind law enforcement, and fully behind the people of St. Lucia and with the people of St. Lucia to cause a solution to happen to the scourge in this country. We have charted our course in a way that will allow the police complete operational control over the affairs of the police force. And that is the only way I know, and I'm sure that is the best way. We've tried different methods. We've tried methods where a commissioner, deputy commissioner of police was the Minister of National Security. I'd like to find out what was different then and what's different now. So when we sit back and we believe that there's a soft underbelly, and I want to tell you, the crime situation is something that I go to sleep at night, think about it. Get up in the morning, think about it. But my words have to be measured because we have seen the consequences of useless words, what has happened to St. Lucia, and the impact that is playing on us up to this day, the impact up to this day of useless words. So I will never, as Prime Minister of St. Lucia, ever make useless words to support or to feed the egos of a few people who want to use this situation for political mileage. I will never use useless words, nor will I make useless threats or give useless commands just to say that I'm being tough when I know very well the reality of the situation. So having said so, I want to thank the members of the Police High Command and the majority of members of the St. Lucia Police Force, and they deserve a round of applause from the cabinet ministers. Because the majority of members of the police force want to do a good job. The majority of them try to do a good job, but there are a few who are not doing a good job, and these must be weeded out of the system. And I want to ask the High Command to have the fortitude and to have the guts and to have the unity among them so that they can rid the police force of the minority element who are involved in nefarious behavior. We speak about guns coming through the borders. We speak about guns coming through barriers. Everyone knows that. Everyone says they know that. I understand the solution to that was to build a port in cul-de-sac. So building a port in cul-de-sac will stop the guns coming from the barriers now. Anyway, that's the life that's a solution that we live in. But the police must work with the customs, and the customs must allow the police to work with them. We cannot work in silos. The customs must allow the police to work with them in the barrel business so we can stem, or we can try to stem the barrels, the guns that are coming through the barrels. So I'm calling on the Comptroller of Customs and the Commissioner of Police to meet together again so that the police can play a role in the barrel inspection together with the scanners. And the scanner story is another story which we have to look into and we have to deal with. And I want to make probably an admission here this morning. And the mark of being in a leadership position is you must be able to say and be like a man and make the point that probably you might have looked at something in a different way. And I hear the political ranting about the dogs. The only reason why the dogs were pulled back is because we were told that the scanners would have been ready and there would not have been any need for both of them. And people seem to have forgotten that. But the scanners have not been ready, or if they're ready, they're not as efficient, so I've asked the Attorney General to look into returning the dogs to the customs to see what we can do to stem the flow of guns into the country through the barriers. So I can stand up like a man and say that we are going to speak to the owners of the dogs to see if we can return them to the situation, at least if we can stem or help stem, or if they can help us stem the influx of guns into the barriers. So in the barrier situation, we need the dogs, we need the police, and we need the customs. So I will not stand and raise my hand and play, I have the answers to everything. No one has ever had the answers to crime in the entire world. No one has ever had it. So this armchairism, and this idea that you feel you have a soft belly, the government has a soft belly, and you must believe that you can, instead of getting together, instead of facing, when we were in opposition, we made the point that matters of crime, the Labour Party would always work with the government. There was a crime commission. I attended the meeting of the crime commission. I was there. I participated. The matter of crime will follow every government. So it's selfish to believe that now we can play politics or we can play all sorts of gimmicks because of the situation. That is unfortunate. And the crime situation is unfortunate. It is rather unfortunate. And the government will stand and do what we have, working with the police to rid St. Lucia of crime. But it's not going to be easy. It has never been easy. No one has done it before. And St. Lucia will try. We are going to try to see how we can work together to all sectors. No one has the answer. The answer is a combination of factors. So we can sit back and we can say that we have the answer. But the answer has always been a combination of factors. And I don't want to go into other countries. But there seems to be a pandemic of crime in the entire region, in the entire world. There seems to be, after COVID, a pandemic of crime. So when we profess that St. Lucia is the worst place in the world, and when we put out these messages just for our selfish motives, we are not doing the country any good. This morning, I heard somebody call me from the US, a foreign journalist running a story on US television about St. Lucia and St. Lucia's crime. And she was quoting, and the information came from St. Lucia. What gain, what benefit do we have in doing that? We have absolutely no benefit. This country doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to these gentlemen, these men and women here. This country belongs to all of us. So when we decide that because there's a problem, and I want to admit there is a problem. Of course there is a problem. But if we do not decide, let's get together. Let's work with the police to fight the problem. And we go on our own tangents to seek political mileage or to believe that the government has a soft underbelly and that is the time to punch, it will not benefit anyone. I've said many times before, I'm not going to be prime minister forever. When I leave, somebody else is going to be prime minister. I took over from someone will take over from me. But while I'm there, I have to do the best job I can for the people of St. Lucia. And the job we have to do is we have to get together in certain issues. There are certain issues that we should not politicize. There are certain issues that we should not try to gain political points. There are certain issues where our color should not matter. And crime is one of these issues. And we've been consistent. We've been consistent. So don't expect me to make any wide statements. Don't expect me to make any threats that I cannot follow. You've seen what threats have done to this country. We have issues that we are dealing with now that are impeding, that are up to this day, are creating psychological issues for members of the St. Lucia police force, which I have to deal with as Prime Minister, which were left for me. Up to today, these matters are affecting us. But I wouldn't raise my hand and blame anybody. But I have to deal with it because of statements that should not have been made. So don't expect me to make any statements. Don't expect me to make any threats. Don't expect me to make so-called hard statements that would mean nothing if the men and women of the police force are not behind me. So I want to call on them. We've given them 19 vehicles. And again, some people seem to minimize that. The police need to be mobile, and the vehicles make them mobile. We've given them 19 from July, and we're going to give them 20 more between now and the middle of next year. We've ordered them, or in the process of ordering them, so they should be here in April. Not my fault. I did not create supply chain issues. So the police are going to be mobile. We've also said we're going to assist the police with technology. We're going to help them with drones. We're going to help some of the police in intelligence policing. We've said we're going to increase their training. And I want to tell you this morning, we are going to increase their numbers. At least for the next 3 months, we are going to put more boots on the ground. The government will find the resources to employ at least 30 more policemen. We are doing what the policymakers must do. My job as Prime Minister is to make the tools available to create the enabling environment and to make the policy decisions that will help the police force to do what they have to do. And their job is to do what they have to do. And we support them 100%, but I will not be making any wild statements. Anyone who wants to find wild statements from me, I'm not going to make any wild statements. There's a scourge of crime which we have to deal with. We're concerned, and the only reason why we're concerned, because it affects all of us. You never know when crime will hit you. You never know. So it's all right now to say it's targeted. It's not targeted. Crime is for the country. Even though it's targeted, you never know when you might become the target. So my message to St. Lucia today is that the government is very concerned. The government understands the situation. The government is doing whatever we can do to solve this situation. We are working with the members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. We are working with them. We're giving them the resources we can. We're going to be increasing these resources incrementally. I have said that this budget is a budget for national security. So you will see in this budget many initiatives for national security. But I call on the members of the police high command that they are going to be made accountable. They've got the full support of the government, but they have to be accountable, and they have to have the courage and the discipline to weed out members among them who are not doing a proper job. We need courage and we need discipline. We have to do it. So my message is, let us work together to deal with the issues we have. No time for political pot shots. There is no time to believe that you have the government in a weak underbelly, so squeeze them because the government. The government is not weak. The government is strong. The government is stronger than ever. The government is stronger than ever because the government has the resolve, the government has the discipline, and the government will put resources in combating crime in this country. So we're not weak. We are stronger as ever. And every member in this cabinet is fully behind the police force and condemns crime. Every member in this cabinet. And we show it by our presence. And we show it by our actions. We show it by not saying useless words. That is how we show it. We show it by not uttering useless words. We show it by not saying that we commit crimes on our own. We show it by our actions. And we will fight the scourge. We'll work with the police force. We'll work with the people of St. Lucia. And we call on the people of St. Lucia to work with us. No time for idle words and political pot shots and political gimmicks to gain points. Let's work together. I want to thank again the members of the police force. They've been through a lot. They've been through a lot. They've been through COVID. The whole country was through COVID. There seems to be a pandemic of crime. And I'm going to write the Secretary General of CARICOM to ask her at our next CARICOM meeting to have an item on crime. Because there seems to be something happening in this region where crime is concerned. But that is no comfort for us in St. Lucia. That's no comfort for us in St. Lucia. So I want to say to the members of the police and the commissioner that we are behind you, we support you, we will work with you, you've got to do your job without fear or favor, and let us see, let us fight this scourge, because we are fighting. It's a battle against crime, it's a battle of good over evil. And I call on anyone who has any workable solution to deal with the issue, let's talk. Anyone who has any workable solution to deal with the issue, let's talk. Very soon, I'm going to be having a discussion. I don't want to call it a commission, a discussion, a dialogue on crime, where we'll call everybody to come and speak. Come and let's find solutions, because everyone may have a solution. The government doesn't know everything. Everyone may have a solution. Let's discuss it. Let's discuss it in a balanced, in a disciplined way, in a sensible way. Let us see if we can work together to solve this problem. We found it, and we would like not to leave it. We'd like to leave St. Lucia a safer place. So I thank you very much, and do have a good day. And I hope that the vehicles are used in the way that they ought to be used. I haven't even told my cabinet members that as yet. I hope they don't hold me to it. By Friday this week, I'm going to be getting another 2 vehicles for the police. Because, again, I get criticized when I say my father was a policeman. Because I remember the old-fashioned policing. And I've said I do not claim any operational police experience. I don't claim anything of that nature. I don't claim it. All I know is about elbow grease and this kind of thing. But what I'm saying to the police is when a crime, a shooting happens in a particular location, the person must go somewhere. The person can't disappear. The person must go somewhere, either north, south, east, or west. So what we need is we need to be mobile. So if it happens in a position, we can be mobile, so we can go east, north, south, or west. And that is why on Friday, by Friday this week, once there are vehicles available, we're going to get another 2, so you'll have 4 for patrols and to get to the scene when it happens. And by March next year, all these vehicles, you're going to get 20 more. That was our promise to you, to give you 40 vehicles. We're giving 19, 21, so you're going to be getting 43 instead of 40. So let's go, let's fight, and let us fight to make St. Lucia a better place. And let us not allow any criminal or any few criminals to spoil our St. Lucia, to damage our economy because of selfishness. Or let's not allow any selfish person, because of their own personal issues, to spoil our country. We have an issue, let's fight, let's get together, and we will destroy the enemy, we will destroy crime. Thank you very much.